All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna check out its local and city search. Actually, combined this time. See if it has BSS. We're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always, FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that. Check the pinned post, home video, wherever you're at. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. And if someone's bringing in their boudoir photography business is rising. They're probably bringing in peeps from the left side, the highest intent, all the way to the right side, the lowest intent. Peeps all coming in, or at least becoming aware of their business. And if a boudoir photography business is falling, more than likely some chunk here along this intent spectrum is missing. We're missing out on those people. So over on the left, we got the highest intent people. That's what we're talking about here with these videos, talking about BSS. These are people, social search on social media, and Google search for like boudoir photographers in their city or boudoir photo shoots in their city. And highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, and it's actually going to be the highest volume of people. And we're talking about those on our sister brand called Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there. And currently, we're only working with boudoir photographers over there, running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, on to BSS, boudoir search sameness. So this one, a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper. We're dead. At that point, we're dead because we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never make it to page 2. So the people searching never even click to go to page 2. They are page 1 searches only, page 1 searchers only. As a result, this is who we got to get in front of. This is who we care about. We don't care about the 20%. They're going 10 pages deep. Don't care. We care about the 80%, the bulk of the market. So 0 slots, no bueno. 1 slot, also no bueno, because, there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers, it's basically, 1 slot for each. And guess what? A buyer, everyone looks the same. Buyer's just going to be clicking down through. And, basically price shopping everyone, price comparing everyone, driving the price into the ground. So, we're not even seen as anything special. We got 1 slot on page 1. Buyers don't see much of a difference between us and the other peeps. So it's literally like, we got BSS, we got a problem. And that's because 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, yes. Accepted, yes. Not normal, no. It is not normal to have so few number of page 1 links on Google. It's accepted, but it's not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Basically, everyone knows what market saturation is. Seems like every week someone's getting a new iPhone, throwing out their Google My Business profile, throwing out their website saying they now do boudoir photo shoots, competing with us for page 1, ranking on page 1. And then, or someone getting a new camera and then they're posting in the mom Facebook groups that they now do boudoir photo shoots as well. So that's market saturation. Also, big market saturation happened during COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work, couldn't earn money, but still need to earn money. And guess what? Everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera on it. So very easy for tons of boudoir photographers to enter the market, which means an increase in supply, increase in sellers. For the same number of buyers, demand remains the same. And guess what? We are making it harder for every buyer or every seller to get buyers if there's more sellers than the same number of buyers. And the biggest thing, though, here's number 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this false belief, page 1 equality, is when people incorrectly believe that, every boudoir photographer gets either, 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and when they, basically when they, a new boudoir photographer comes in, maybe they're on page 1, originally they're on page 1, a new boudoir photographer gets ranked above them, they get kicked off to page 2, and they're thinking, oh, that's simply how it is, hopefully that person deletes their website. Maybe Google will put me back on page 1. So it's basically this acceptance that there's not really much that can be done. No, incorrect, false. I know this for a fact. Google will actually give as many page 1 slots to any boudoir photographer who wants them, who wants to put in the work to acquire them, without paying for Google ads. And I know that because I actually went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google in 10 days using this new methodology that I invented. So false belief, page 1 inequality. First, thing is realize it's false, and we actually can take as many page one slots on Google as we want, which kind of like punches through kind of this brain box we were in. It allows us to see outside. Oh, and outside we do have one solution finally coming up in 2 pictures. But right now, we know that boudoir photographer BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. But yeah, if we got 0 slots on page one, we're disappearing because approximately 80% of the marketplace that searches on Google ain't never finding us on page 2 or deeper. Also, for page one slot on Google Organic, we're basically looking the same as everyone else. Going to be price shopped with like 9 other boudoir photographers, driving margins down, and just really screwing everything up for us. So disappearing boudoir photographer, this one they have BSS, and that's because it's the canary in the coal mine. This is the first sign, kind of the first flag that eventually the boudoir photography business will be disappearing down the line as well. But luckily, we now have the solution. So we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology, and we know this because we invented it and we've already used it for ourselves. Now, S-cubed methodology, that's exactly what it said. It's exactly its name, social search saturation. We're going to saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, buyer keywords. So we pop up there. So buyer search there, find us first. It's kind of like the backside, the small streams, the small rivers of the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. And these all flow into the large Amazon River. Large Amazon River is Google page one. So if we successfully social search saturate, then we'll be rewarded with as many slots on page one of Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And as a result, we actually, it's actually the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that's able to stave off and actually allow boudoir photography business to continue to grow without, even in the face of market saturation, even in the face of massive market saturation. Now, the only other thing that could do this is brand, but that takes like 5 to 10 years to, assemble. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is coming to take people's jobs. We literally got to get maximum distribution, kind of a maximum digital land grab now, ASAP. And so, for S-cubed methodology, outcompeting market saturation, allowing us to continue to grow, even in the face of it. Let's say we're in Chicago, there's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website center boudoir photographer, all trying to rank page one on Google, and we are saying, okay, the only way for us to successfully compete is we got to crank S-cubed methodology to the max. That's exactly what we do. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, and we take like the first 300 slots across all social networks for, let's say for those highest intent keywords. Now, let's also say this now flows onto Google, the Amazon River, and we're taking up the first 300 organic slots, Google organic search for those keywords as well. And every page on Google is 10 organic slots. So we're basically working on, taking over 30 first 30 pages of Google. So essentially for anyone to find our competitors, they literally got to scroll 300 places on social search or Google search. They got to go to page 31 on Google search. And dude, if approximately 20% of peeps are going to Google page 2, basically ain't no one going to Google page 31. And so whenever a buyer searches their high intent buyer keywords, then what happens is we show up everywhere, and basically kicked all of our competitors out of the building. So even though there's a million boudoir photographers in Chicago, whose business is growing? Ours, because we cranked S-cubed methodology to the max, took over all the search real estate, social search, Google search, for the first 300 slots. And like our business growing, everyone else disappeared. They're disappearing. They can't successfully compete with us. And so again, this is why I said this is the only, and this happens a lot faster than brand. That's why I said it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully outcompete market saturation and continue to grow boudoir photography business. That doesn't require ads, because ads, their momentum goes to zero once you stop spending. S-cubed methodology has a momentum to it. It's not infinity momentum, but it's way more momentum than zero momentum once you stop spending on it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility, a bonus, kind of an initial benefit. Get more slots on Google. We're also kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one of Google, effectively making them invisible. They're relegated to page two or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of boudoir or of Google searches never even reach page two. They're page one searchers only. So we're kicking them far to the five buyers, ain't even gonna see them. So that's an initial benefit. In addition to us getting more slots, we're getting price shopped against way less people because 4 out of 5 boudoir searchers ain't going to page two anyway. Approximately 4 out of 5. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where we actually want to. This is where our GBC recommended. You know, we want to hit. GBC recommends a minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page one slots. So 3 out of 10, and as a result, we feel like that's where we can comfortably say, all right, well, most likely at least treading water here, maintaining, most likely not disappearing. And the highest probability is we're actually growing the business once we're getting 3 out of 10. And 3 out of 10, if everyone else is one slot, man, a boudoir buyer seeing us with 3, they're gonna be like, why does Google keep recommending this person over and over and over again? They may only click us and not even click any of our competitors on that search. And then there's always a tiny, tiny, tiny chance someone will have 2 slots. So if we get the 3 out of 10 slots, we're good. It's basically like, if we get 3 out of 10, we're basically dominating 99.9% of all cases. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So it's our full universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, previously unknown false belief, page one equality. But finally, thankfully, we have a solution. Thank the universe. We got SQ'd methodology now. We achieve page one visibility, and we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. So it's our micro universe here. Now we're going to check out my results using SQ'd methodology. So I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So I went and I used SQ'd methodology, social search saturation. And see, organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots Google page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1. And this was purely using our S-cubed methodology. Now, main event here. Gonna check out this boudoir photography business. Gonna check out its local and city search. Looks like we got them combined here. See if they got BSS. So we're going to Waynesboro, PA. All right, yeah, this one was too far from like another big city. So Waynesboro, PA. All right. That's actually good. We got we'll give them a 1 for this. They got the AI overview here, ranked number 1. Nice. So we got 1. We got 2. We got 3. We got 4. We got 5. We got 6. We got 7. Yo, nice. All right, so we got 7 out of 10, insanely good. So we do not have BSS. We did meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search. Awesome. And we almost hit our 8 out of 10 level to say when we're dominating page 1 on Google search. We put that at 8 out of 10, but that's pretty rare. I think we've got 2 people at 7 right now, I believe. So man, this is as good as it gets here. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done the local search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords and the highest intent, and you've done the city search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords. And you have BSS for one or both of them, and or you have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots for one or both of them. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear. Okay, more boudoir photographers always over time. It's always increasing. And you want to kick out those current competitors. And you're seeing SQ'd methodology is the only path to successfully do that. But you're also thinking ahead of, man, AI is taking more and more people's jobs, it seems, every day. So if AI is taking more and more people's jobs every day, then there's probably going to be more and more. It's going to be like the third prong of things that's pushing more boudoir photographers in. It's not just new iPhone or new camera, it's now losing jobs due to AI. So you see, okay, more and more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. We actually want to increase the kind of pre-fortify our position before this monster tsunami or kind of this increasing wave of new boudoir photographers enters the market, competing with us for page one. Want to kind of pre-fortify our positions in expectation that kind of like the levees in New Orleans. I think it's like the built up sandbag things to keep the ocean at bay because the city is below sea level. And we actually want to decide you want to pre-fortify your position to also pre-fortify your position on Google page one to all the new boudoir photographers that will eventually be coming in because more and more people lose their job to AI. And you're also seeing, hey, S cubed methodology is the only path for that. You've accepted that page one equality is a false belief, and Google will actually give us as many slots on page one as we want to put in the effort to take. So you've accepted the false belief of page one inequality is false. So you want to use S cubed methodology, you see as the only solution, and you want the page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need this on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want the two hidden back-end benefits of successfully executing S-cubed methodology every single day, which is kind of the more we execute it, the keywords that we use that we're starting to rank for, show up social search for, saturate that, show up Google page one for. It's basically building thematic keyword columns attached to our entire internet brand, our social accounts, our website, out there in the minds of AI. So every single day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology, we actually increase the probability that AI overview here recommends us, and Google still is about 90% of search, slowly decreasing every day though. So higher chance we get the the premium placement slot here, AI overview, because it's pulling from, our frequency, our density, our authority, our age of these different thematic keyword columns that S-cube allows us to tackle. So increasing probability of being shown up here and increasing probability of being showing up for all the AI search apps, ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, and we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. So kind of all this hidden back-end AI brain momentum every single day. It's kind of building up momentum every single day we execute methodology. And you're seeing, since my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, that you decide you want to hop on this first, be a first mover, because every single day we execute methodology correctly. We're getting the initial benefits, the quick future benefits, and the longer term momentum AI brain recommendation benefits, building up the momentum, and you're putting massive gap between you and all the current competitors, and definitely all the ones that have not entered yet, but we know they will because AI will be taking a bunch of people's jobs. And so you want all that, and you also see if some other boudoir photographer in your same city were to work with me instead, that you would actually have to figure out S-cubed methodology on your own, and you would never actually know if you've rederived it correctly. And then you'd have to go equal our execution every single day, execute an S-cubed methodology, which you'd have to equal our effort and you'd have to be confident in it, which you would not have 100% confidence because you would not know if you've even derived S-cubed methodology correctly in the first place. And to do all that effort, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you. To actually close the gap, you'd have to double or triple outwork us every single day to close that gap. Basically kind of steal back that thematic keyword column momentum attached to your competitor's brand in the AI brain, the AI search brain for all these AI apps and pull it back to your brand. And so you decide, okay, screw that. I'd rather just be the first mover and not be dealing with the laggard position of not being the #1 boudoir photographer in my city, because I know a ton of boudoir photographers going to be entering because of AI taking Peep's job. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. When I open my DMs for new patient intake, the hospital is currently closed. They're not currently taking in any new patients. But when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.